Fair warning, I'm not gonna watch my language in this one, because I'm just exhausted from doing that in my regular wrestling videos every day, so fuck it. People have been wondering, what's going on? I hear at least once a week, what's going on with 2K17, because obviously I stopped playing it after the whole thing broke in the rankings for the IC belt. I had to restart the IC belt rankings. I still have not finished whatever it is that you finish in this mode. And so here I am. I've been lazy. That's on me. Just quite lazy. But I learned if you play this rankings long enough, eventually the champion will lose. And now Seth freaking Rollins is your IC champion. I'm actually ranked higher than John Cena, shockingly enough. But I've been stuck in this feud with him for like 2 months. So we'll see. I'm going to play a little bit here. Not too much new in what I want to think about this game, because I've certainly gotten my thoughts on this game out there quite extensively. I think that my feelings and thoughts on this game are very well documented on this channel. So, of course, everyone wants to know what I've been thinking about these current announcements on 2K18. You got your cover reveal. It's Seth freaking Rollins. And I'm going to start with the positives, because everyone complains that I get too negative and that I'm too skeptical and that I'm too down on whenever there's a new announced wrestling game for the past couple of years, that I tend to go negative first, or that, you know, I always point out the things that I don't like before the things that I do like. So, I will go positive first. I think it is a positive, a net positive, that they've said that there is no 360 PS3 last gen. You're done, son. There's no last gen version. I think that hopefully frees up a good deal of money and resources and whatever else, instead of just, okay, we're going to have another year with a reskinned roster update. No. F that. Not doing that. No roster update. No nonsense for that this year. And hopefully that money will go towards making 2K18 a better game. Obviously can't guarantee that, but that is my hope for what they're doing. Also, apple juice! A positive is that the $90 deluxe edition, is going to have the season pass packed in that edition. Also, whatever the other nebulous collector's edition, that's going to be more than that, with, you know, whatever plastic, you know, crap that's going to be in that box. Another apple juice on the solid steel. Apple juice! And then go into the ring. Whatever that edition is, that's going to cost more than the 90. That one will also have the season pass packed in. And as someone who obviously bought last year's game and bought the NXT edition for $100 and then paid another $25 or $30 for the fucking season pass, that's awesome. The fact that you can buy it, the deluxe or the collectors, and then play it 4 days early. That's awesome. That's actually a tangible reward as someone who is a YouTube guy and wants to do video coverage on YouTube. That's cool, right? Now, when we get past the positives, I suppose, and I can't speak too much on the game itself because we don't know anything about the game itself. So, if you see people out there, other big wrestling YouTubers getting all hype and excited and whatever else, and I'm like, they haven't announced shit yet. They've shown a very cool live action trailer with Seth Rollins. So you would hope having a current stunner on the game is going to help the game push current stars and not part-timers and not legends. We'll see. But outside of those handful of details announced that I just discussed, you know, not having old versions and having a packed-in season pass, there's not much else to really talk about in terms of the game itself, right? So don't get yourself all hyped up just yet. This is the beginning of the hype cycle in terms of how these games usually work, right? So there's that. Now, this is my hope, right? Stunner! This is my hope. My hope is that, because you're scrapping the old versions, that you will use that budget to hopefully support the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. You know, the better versions of the existing consoles that have been out for almost 4 years now. Now last year, you had an excuse. Last year, this game came out before the PS4 Pro came out by like a month. Alright, fair play. You could say, oh, we didn't know, we couldn't get prepared in time for it, etc., etc. But the PS4 Pro has been out since November, right? And this game's out in October. So if you don't, at the very least, support the PS4 Pro, you're fucking up. Now, I'm not saying it has to be in 4K, but I'm saying it should at least look nicer or run nicer, smaller load times, some kind of a tangible benefit for having a PS4 Pro and having an Xbox One X, which obviously I will have an Xbox One X coming this November. So there's that. And that's about how my life is going right now in 2K17. Just John Cena all day. Day. And just a regular one-on-one encounter where I start with 50% of my meter for reasons. Anyway, yeah, so I feel like a broken record sometimes here on YouTube because it's the same cycle every time, right? You get to the announcement, then you find out the pre-order bonus, you know, the pre-order guy, and then they announce the special edition, which could be Kurt Angle this year, I don't know. It could be a lot of things, right? But they haven't announced it yet. And then we get to, you know, SummerSlam weekend, and we get, you know, our gameplay trailer, our, you know, cinematic, whatever the fuck what you want to call it, trailer, where it shows, you know, some of the entrances, and like a song from like 15 years ago is going to be, you know, in the soundtrack, and that stuff, right? That's fine. But then, of course, they'll have their press event, where, you know, the big WWE YouTubers will go out and play the game, and then have all kinds of good things to say about how awesome this year's game is. Oh man, they nailed it this year, and it's going to be great. And look, never trust coverage from anybody who's not part of a legitimate journalistic, if they're not part of a press outlet, and they go to a press event, and everything that they say is very glowing and very just, oh my god, it's so awesome. Just don't. And I get into it every year, but look at last year, right? Now, this game, obviously, there are things in this game that I like. I think reintroducing the backstage brawls is fucking awesome, right? I think that what they try to do with the promo system has promise. It's not quite there yet. It needs some work. I'm hoping that this year has a refined and improved system for my career promos, right? But they're trying, right? And I will never fault them for trying. But, as we've seen here on this channel, this game's a buggy fucking mess. Come on now. Somehow, this game was even buggier than 2K16. I'm not sure how the fuck you do that, but they did it, right? So, I'm just tired of it. Every year, we get this stuff. And it's like, no, I get it, right? You're basically a glorified PR person. I don't want to get into it again, and I don't want to be overly I don't want to be overly negative again on a thing that, you know, I'm gonna play Slug Sploder. I'm gonna play it, you know, I'm gonna buy it. I'm part of the problem because this game series has been mediocre for so long, so long, and yet they just keep doing it. And you know, I feel like I at least have somewhat of an obligation to play it and get the fucking real talk out there, because before release, you're not going to see any real talk, really. If anyone who's going out to see it, they're going to be positive because they don't want to get blacklisted by 2K and not go see it next year. Because when you're a big YouTuber and you get games and play them early and they're big games, that footage does well. It increases your brand, it increases your standing here on YouTube, and you just get bigger. Meanwhile, I'll be over here spitting that real talk because that's what the fuck I do on YouTube. Now, again, like every year, we're going to have a few of you in the comments that are going to be like, oh, attackslug's just salty that he's not getting invited to these, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, go back and do the fucking numbers. There are channels getting invited that have less subscribers and less views than this channel. And I can tell you for a fact that last year, I know channels who were in negotiations to go to that press thing, and because 2K couldn't guarantee they were going to be positive, they ended up not getting invited, that were a lot bigger than my channel. I know how this whole thing works, and I'm just not interested in being a part of any of it. So yeah, that's my 2K17 My Career update. I'm sure I'll have more thoughts on 2K18 in the coming months before the release on October the 17th, but actually the 13th if you buy the deluxe. Just fucking whatever. I'm attackslug. Thanks for watching. More videos every day, and I'll see you next time right here on this channel, and I'm out.